Okay, we are working on chapter 7 now. So this lecture is like super short because it's mostly involving problems in this chapter. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some issues and also about some kind of problems we're going to learn. And then I'm going to be posting the video about how to work the problems in nuts and bolts, which is a simplistic version of the problems, then how to push those same kind of methods of conquering the problems into the textbook problem solutions. And so today I'm just going to talk about the note sheet, and then I'll post the other in a separate video. So some terms that we have in here. I have this term called differential revenue that we're going to learn. And also, if you notice at the beginning, I mentioned whether it's relevant or irrelevant as I talk about each of these things we're discussing. So relevant, one relevant point that we're going to learn in this chapter is differential revenue. Differential revenue is just how much you expect the revenue to change if you make one option, if you choose one option over another. So this whole chapter is talking about differential analysis, meaning you have an option. You can do something different in your business. And if you do, what's the impact? So differential revenue is talking about what is the impact on just the revenue, not the net profit impact, just the revenue is the differential revenue. Then by the same token, differential cost is also relevant to the decision because it's talking about what is the additional cost that would arise if you did make this change you're considering. So differential cost is the expected change in the cost because one choice over another. Some people also call that the avoidable cost. And then between the two, the difference between the differential revenue and the differential cost is how much the net impact on the bottom line is going to be. Sometimes they refer to that as net differential income, or the net income change basically is what that is. So also the whole thing we're doing in this entire chapter, this differential analysis, is about deciding if I make this option, if I take this option I'm considering, what is the impact on the business as a whole? What will I lose from not doing what I used to do, or and also what will I gain from doing this new thing I'm considering? And so sometimes you can make a change that just increases your income or your net income. But a lot of times a change decreases income on one side and increases on the other. And by the same token, it decreases cost and increases on other costs. So net differential income is talking about what's the net impact after I consider differential revenue and differential cost. Okay, so that's also relevant, of course. But so related to these topics that we're considering, we still have this cost we've been talking about all term so far, and that's opportunity cost. Remember, opportunity cost is not actually a cost at all. It's a foregone revenue item. So if I choose option B, I can no longer have the cash that I was earning from option A. And so that's the loss of the option A revenue is the opportunity cost. And so it's income foregone from alternative use of an asset. If your capacity is limited, choosing one, and most people's is, choosing one action could make the company lose profits from the other opportunity that they were already having. Okay, and then sunk cost is the cost we've talked about in the past. Also, this is historical cost that we have already invested and we can't get it back even no matter which choice we make. We already spent the money, so the decision going forward has to be based on what is best going forward. It's true that sometimes you have assets you can utilize and that has to be considered, but you can't decide strictly based on the money you've already spent for something, because you need to see what is going to position you for the future and what is the best decision from this moment forward. And so costs that are incurred in the past and not relevant to the current decisions are called sunk cost. So that's the only one on this list that's actually irrelevant, and it's always been irrelevant because sunk cost is not a good way to decide anything. A lot of people in real life use sunk costs for decision making, and it's not a good plan because it is a mentality that says I can't abandon that concept or that product at this point. I've invested too much in it, but that is not where the future is. So if you were an iPhone, if you were Apple and you produced iPhones and you had invested the bulk of your research in making an iPhone 4 because it was the one that every customer that you had was holding in their hand at one time of your in your history. If you could not let go of the iPhone 4 because it was so successful and you had invested so much research in developing it, then you would never be able to make the profits in the future by developing the more cutting edge phones that are available now. And so that's an example of sunk cost. And so there's a whole that I mean that's just that's in a research technology field, but there are a lot of people that have that sunk cost mentality about heavy equipment that they use to manufacture with, and a lot of computer processing equipment that they use in their business. So there's a heavy investment in a lot of things that make you hesitant to change. But you just have to analyze from this moment forward, what am I trying to accomplish in the future? And if what you have will accomplish that for you, then great. We're not trying to replace things just because they're old or just because there's something newer out there. But if you cannot accomplish your future goals with the assets that you currently have, you can't let that stop you from moving into the future. Okay, so based on all that, we're going to be analyzing in a lot of different ways some options that we can have in a business. So here's some of the options we're going to analyze using nuts and bolts and exercises in the book. The first one we'll talk about is we're going to talk about accepting special orders. This is a case where you have someone offers to give you a contract, but it's less than what you had normally expected to get out of this kind of contract. And so, but if you have idle time, you might consider taking a special order, but you'll just have to analyze and see if there's profit in it. So we're going to do some nuts and bolts about this. So when we start to do the exercise, we're going to do 10.6 of the nuts and bolts. And then we're going to do, from the textbook, we're going to do PA 7.1. So I'm telling you this now because I'm not going to explain each of these things now. I'm going to explain them as I'm working through these exercises. But I want to make sure that you realize we are making sure we know how to make these kinds of decisions by these two different kinds of exercises we will do. So in the textbook, generally they give a lot of detail. It's a complex situation. Whereas in the nuts and bolts, it's very simplistic where you can see, well, this is the thing I have to analyze. This is the thing I need to consider to make the decision or not. So in the make or buy, we're going to use nuts and bolts 10.3 to learn how to do that. And then we're going to apply it in the textbook to E7.7. And then we're also make or buy is talking about a situation where the organization has to have component parts of some kind, and they can use those, they can buy those components from someone else, or they can make them themselves. So an example I like to use on this is if you own a restaurant in South Louisiana or in North Louisiana, but mostly in South Louisiana, then you probably make po' boys. Especially if it's a little mom and pop shop, a lot of them have po' boys on the menu in South Louisiana. And so if you make po' boys, you have a choice about what to do about the French bread that you use to make those sandwiches. You could make it yourself, or you could buy it from someone else. So this is the kind of thing you have to decide in a business is, should I make this myself, or is it more economical and practical for me to buy it from someone else? So in order to decide, you have to analyze the cost that it takes to do each of the two alternatives. So that's what make or buy is about. Then you have a discontinuous segment. That's keeping or dropping. So we're going to work on that in 10.2. And I don't think I have an exercise that I'm going to work this, but in another chapter, I do believe we have a keep or drop in one of the in-class exercises. But for this chapter, we're only going to do the nuts and bolts. But basically what this is if you have a lot of different things going on in your company, and you have this one product or this one segment of your company that's not doing as well as the others, you might consider, well, that's just dragging me down. I need to discontinue that product or that segment of the business. And so it might be true that you should, but before you decide, let's just scrap that product or let's just scrap that segment, you need to decide, is it really helping me more than I know? Because is the income that I'm getting, even though it's not enough to make a profit, is it helping me cover my fixed cost? And if it is, you have to consider very closely before you discontinue it, because whatever you replace that product with, or whatever you replace that segment's activity with, needs to be able to cover the fixed costs for you. So if you don't have a replacement option of how to cover those fixed costs, then you need to consider very strongly before you discontinue if that product is actually making enough contribution margin to apply towards some of the fixed cost. So that's what we'll learn in 10.2. Then in the next one is sell or process further. This one is going to be in the nuts and bolts 10.5. I'm going to work on that one and that one. And then in the textbook, we're going to work on E7.9. That does the same thing. And basically sell or process further is like this. I like to talk about the peanut processing, because if you owned a peanut farm and you produce a lot of peanuts, you could just sell them as peanuts to like Jif or Peter Pan, somebody that makes peanut butter, right? And so if you just sell them outright as peanuts, then that means sell as is. But if you wanted to, you could consider the fact that if you process them further, then maybe you could make more profits. But in order to process peanuts into peanut butter, there's a lot of cost involved. So you'd have to make a lot more money making peanut butter in order to justify processing further your peanuts into peanut butter. But to make the decision, the option is, here's what I can make if I just sell peanuts. And then the second alternative you're considering is, here's how much I can make if I use peanuts and then add these costs to turn them into peanut butter. Then here, how much can I sell it for at that point? So what is my net profit from making peanut butter versus just selling peanuts, raw peanuts? But anyway, another alternative, of course, you could just sell raw peanuts, or you could sell roasted peanuts. So that's just a process further scenario. So we'll consider some of those kind of things. There's also in some of the other exercises. Oh, I'm seeing, I got more of these. Let's see. Some of these from the textbook are in our homework, and some of them are in the in class. So this was in class, which will be on my video. This is homework from the textbook here. Okay, so the process further, yeah, I got that. Okay, so this one, the make or buy, I also in class have a PA 7.2, just the first requirement. And then on sell or process further, I have a PA 7.4. So sloppy, I'm sorry. This is what happens when you wing it. Sorry. Okay, and then bottlenecks is the next one we'll learn. We're going to learn how to do bottlenecks in 10.7. And then in the homework, we're going to have E7.15 about bottlenecks. In the in-class, we're going to have PA, and which I mean my video, PA 7.6. And what bottlenecks is talking about is when you're doing a manufacturing process, or really anything that you're doing that's producing a product or a service, a lot of times there'll be a place in your production where you have a slowdown because you can't get more product out because there's this one thing that's slowing you down. Maybe you don't have enough manpower to do this piece of the process, or you can't get a hold of a raw material that you need that allows it to keep going, or maybe there's a piece of machinery that slows you down because you can't get the product through that process in the manufacturing procedure. And so that slowdown place, or that stop that you get to that prohibits you from making more product is called the bottleneck. And so we will be learning about bottlenecks and how they work. It's very important to understand about that because your profitability on each product is contingent on how much of the time is tied up in this bottleneck. Because if something is very intensive in the thing that you're restricted, it's also called a constricted asset when it's a bottleneck. And so if a lot of the time that you need to make the product is in this constricted asset or bottleneck time, then that means that might not be the most profitable product for you to make. Okay, and so the next one we're going to learn about is whether to lease or sell assets. So this, if you're not using an asset in your business, you might consider leasing it out to someone else, or if you know you're not going to use it in the future, you might consider just selling it. So you need to be able to consider the options. So this one we'll do nuts and bolts 10.1 to learn. And then I don't think I have an example in the homeworks or the in-class problems about that other than the nuts and bolts one. But that is a valid concern. If you just would analyze how much would you be getting for this property or equipment if you leased it out, and what's the net profit, and then what if you outright sell it, here's how much you would get for it and what would be the cost to sell it, and compare the two to see which makes most sense for you and which is most profitable. And then the last one we're going to learn is 10.4 in the nuts and bolts, keep or replace the equipment. So the reason I have these in this strange order, this is the order in which the textbook kind of addressed some of these things, whereas the nuts and bolts, I had them in a slightly different order because these were important to differential analysis, but in different textbooks, they're sometimes in different orders. So, but we are going to be covering all these that I have here, just so that you know, you'll be subject to possibly being questioned on the test about any of these. So you need to understand how they work. Don't freak out. Just look at it practically and say, okay, what am I trying to compare? What are the options? What changes? What's relevant if I do this option compared to this option? Okay, so this is just the lecture overview, and now we're going to work some of these problems, and you're going to learn a lot about differential analysis, and this is really intuitive. So you just reason through it. Just make sure you're seeing all the ins and outs of what actually is going to change if I do this versus this. Okay, all right, I'll see you when we do some questions, some exercises.